Since 2003, this is The Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Junk Be Gone, Phoenix Conversions.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source. Thank you for joining us today. We certainly appreciate it. We have a packed show with tons of Tennessee talk. Let's go ahead and show you what part of that is. First of all, we're going to talk about attendance at Neyland Stadium. We're going to talk about COVID testing. UT got lucky on that front. NCAA has put down a new summer schedule, which might aid Tennessee in some areas as well. UT roster questions remain. We'll talk about 3 players specifically. Scheduling issues at Tennessee. Pruitt takes a stand. Is that going to cost him in any way? And then odds makers' views on the Vols this year. National Championship, SEC Championship, 4 different sports books, and I'm sure Chuck Cavaleris will have a say into that. This first segment of our program is brought to you by Phoenix Conversions. For 30-plus years, they've been the team to turn to when it comes to upgrading and customizing your truck, your van, your SUV, or if you're a business owner, your fleet of vehicles. Phoenix Conversions. Whether it's your company's work fleet or just a personal upgrade, check with these folks first. PhoenixConversions.com. You can find them on Facebook, and of course, you can stop by and see them. We appreciate Phoenix Conversions for being a big part of the Sports Source. Same can be said for the next 2 gentlemen who are joining me right now. We have right here from WNML, Josh Ward. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Sean.
And you also do the Locked On podcast, Locked On Vols.
Locked On Vols, yeah. Download, subscribe.
People can get that. You're still doing this on a... Surely you're not still doing it daily.
We're doing roughly 3-4 days a week, yeah.
Okay, the hardest working man in show business right here. I started to say, if you can pull off every day during this, that would be an impressive feat. So 3-4 times. You may take
Still
a day off.
Still giving the people what they need, yeah.
Okay, right down there. Chuck Cavaleris, longtime sports writer in East Tennessee.
Speaking of hardworking.
Yeah, well, the opposite of hardworking down there. All right, Chuck and Josh, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I want to start. Everyone's been wondering about college football. Will the season be played in full? What's the latest on attendance? Everything seems to be chugging along right now toward a 12-game schedule. Played as full. That's the goal. Philip Fulmer was specifically asked about the situation by the Knoxville News-Sentinel this week, and let's go ahead and show you what he had to say. I absolutely think that everything is headed in a good direction for us to have this season. Again, circumstances could call for a change of some sort of direction. There's still things on the table. We're looking forward to having a season in a full stadium. We'll adjust from there. And then he followed up by saying it's not like Coach Fulmer alone is going to sit down and make a decision. We're going to make a decision collectively with our experts in the health department and the medical task force and the conference, and I think there's much more healthy than one person or one group of people having all that responsible. I think that's much more healthy to have it done that way, he says. When asked finally about having a full house for Charlotte, he said that is the desire, yes. Okay, sounds good. Have your opinions changed on whether or not you're going to have a full house for Charlotte or other games? He was careful to say, hey, things could change. This is the goal. And I have no doubt it's the goal. But have your views changed on whether or not you're going to have full capacity?
No. I think that in Philip Fulmer's position or those positions where they're going to end up making that decision, they should plan as if everything will work out as they have planned for the last year for the 2020 season. But you also have to have plans if things change, and he pointed out that that's going to be the case as well. And there are a lot of people that are going to have conversations behind the scenes. But this week with the University of Tennessee having some pretty strict social distance guidelines for students on campus and for people who work on campus, that also can be an indication about things changing in stadiums. So you hope for full capacity, you plan for much less.
Chuck?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of looking at it like the alphabet, A to Z. I mean, what's the middle letter? L. You know, that's kind of what I think you're going to end up at. I mean, starting out, wouldn't you be happy with 50% to start moving forward? I'd take that right now in a heartbeat. Maybe by November you're full, or at capacity, but that's more of a pep talk, isn't it? That's more, hey, this is what we hope for, and then we'll adjust on the fly if we have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The COVID cases are going up in a lot of places. Some places they're not, but in a lot of places they are. Nashville, they've been going up to the point where the city said, okay, we're going to delay going to phase 3 of our reopen. That happened this week. and just yesterday, word came out that Texas Governor Greg Abbott, this isn't Michigan or Massachusetts, this is Texas. Governor Greg Abbott did a Zoom session with all of the FCS and FBS. It was all of maybe it was just FBS, athletic directors in the state of Texas. So, yeah, it was FBS, Power 5 and the non-Power 5, but it was all FBS athletic directors talking about what they can expect this fall. And his view was that getting more than 50% capacity in the stadiums is highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's following the Cavaliers' plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think at some point, I think you'd be lucky to get 50%.
I do too.
Right. Maybe go back to the Gene Smith. There was a pretty wide range, but Ohio State's athletic director shooting in the 20 to 50,000 fans at Ohio Stadium, and 50,000 would be just under 50% capacity. I think they're at 104, right around there. I think you also look at the professional ranks, and we've had owners of the Carolina Panthers and Miami Dolphins say, yeah, we are planning to have fans in the stadiums, but full capacity is not really likely or even all that possible right now. So if that's the case with professional leagues, what does that say about college leagues?
With most of the college stadiums are bigger than the pro stadiums
Right.
as well, so you got more people going in there. The one other issue, you mentioned the social distancing issues at UT. The NFL, it's one voice. They came out and they said, here are the rules for all of our teams. John Harbaugh, head coach of the Ravens, came out this week and said, you can't do football with this. This doesn't work. What are we supposed to do? Shower one at a time? Have guys lifting the weights one at a time? To an extent, I get where he's coming from. At the same time, by barking as much as he did, it almost sent the wrong message, I think, in some words, that maybe he's not taking this as seriously as he could be. But it does make you think, all right, if you've got this kind of social distancing that's going on with the team and on campus, how are you not going to have some pretty solid social distancing rules for inside a stadium?
Is it still going to be 6 feet? Is it 4 feet? Are you going to keep one empty, seat between? I mean, there's so many things you got to try and figure out here. And you obviously, you got to wait and see how things look then. They got to set the timeline to come back, start practice. There's so many things to work forward to get to that point.
I still worry about if you get people in. Okay, let's say you line it all up, and we did this a few weeks ago. We talked about this when it was back in the news again then. We talked about the fact that even if you just had 20,000 in there and you divided people up equally among all the gates at Neyland Stadium, and it's only 20,000 people coming in, you've still got each line more than a mile long. But let's say you get them all in there, and you time it out, and people arrive in different waves. Okay, I still don't see how you get everybody out. Because, and I've had people text me and email me saying, well, it's easy. You put on a concert after so people can stay. But some people aren't going to want to leave. They're going to want to stay for the concert.
Right.
I just,
you have restrooms. How do you get people in and out?
Yeah,
even if you don't sell concessions, but you're going to have some water for people if they need it. A lot of stuff involved in this.
But you look at it, John, college football and a lot of sporting venues already have had declining attendance. Who's to say when you do open back up that not everybody's going to want to come to the first game right away?
That's going to be an interesting take as well. Do you have people who are just pent up, tired of being told you can't get out, and they rush that stadium like never before? I think you'd have some people like that. I think you'd have some people who are like, not me.
Well, some
I'm not
fans
gonna
are
rush that.
older, higher risk, right?
Yeah.
So they would be advised not to come in some cases that would still have season tickets. We're also saying that they're just clearly differing opinions all over the place. I mean, look at the professional leagues. Look at how difficult it's been for Major League Baseball, what's happened with the NBA over the last few days, and then take college athletics, and you have different places all over the country, different people at different levels, whether we're talking about politicians, presidents, athletic directors, coaches in different leagues with commissioners. So it's multiplied when you take it to the college level. Without leadership, by the way. The professional leagues have commissioners. The college level is all over the place.
I'll get into that in the next segment, as a matter of fact. You're leading us down the right road. When we come back, we'll talk about Tennessee not having any positive COVID tests with their players so far. That's a good thing. That's not the case for all the SEC schools. We'll talk about that. And then would the NCAA be better off if there was one unifying voice? Big government, small government question when it comes to sports. We've got a lot of actual roster and on-the-field stuff to discuss, too. Come on back on the Sports Source.